Okay, so before we head into kneeing, we want to add one component that's integral to both kneeing and elbows. If you want to generate force, you have to use your hips. So if I throw an elbow like this, or like this, and I use my arms, it'll have no power. So when I throw an elbow or a knee or a punch or any technique, if I don't turn my hip, I will have zero power in the technique. All of your power comes from this core transfer from the ground through the hips into the technique. Doesn't matter if it's a boxing strike or an elbow or a knee, that core transfer from the ground through the hips, through the torso, into the technique is where the power comes from. So now when we talk about knees, it's gonna be the same technique. As I come, my hips are gonna thrust and the knee is gonna come out. You see how my hips are turning? Nice and slow again. And you notice that my knee and my hip is coming out and thrusting forward. If I just knee here, I can only hit the guy if he's here with a minimal force. So the thing we want to practice with our knees is the knee has to turn with the hip and thrust outward and then come back. And some of our Muay Thai guys can do some amazing jumping knees and flying knees. Same technique applies, you jump and thrust the hips. So that's our basic knee. So if Sean comes over, we'll do 2 iterations of this knee. Number 1 is, I've come in some sort of a clinch position, doesn't really matter how, then this knee is going to come up. And in Muay Thai, this position up is the legal position. In self-defense, the groin is a great striking target because one knee, boom, up through that groin, and that could be fight over, I'm running home safe to my family. But if I come through the body, I want to come right through that knee. The second knee technique we're going to work is what we call round knee. If we're in an outside position over here, I'm going to bring my knee up, around, like so. This is what we call round knee. And again, my hips have to turn, my body has to turn if I want to generate power. So based on the position that I'm at, I'll throw the knee. The other great thing about knees is we can throw a knee here to the leg. I can throw this knee, a powerful knee to the leg, especially the outside of the area, that quadricep muscle, my goodness, it hurts. Very painful. Okay, so now we're going to work on the concept of clinching. We talked about our 4 ranges of combat. In the clinching range, we like this range because we can control the opponent and all of his vital targets are right near me. His eyes, his throat, his groin, all of his fingers are there. When I grab hold of him, he can't get away. I can elbow him, headbutt him, bite him. I can do lots of really horrible things to him. We want to talk about a clinch position first. So one of the principles that we use here at the gym is there's Muay Thai and there's Kali. In the Muay Thai clinch, they want to clinch high on the head and pull the head into the chest. This allows me to throw knees and the opponent cannot strike or knee me. Our preference in self-defense is what we call the Kali clinch. Instead of coming to the top of the head, we're going to come to the back of the neck, drop our hands around. From this position, we can throw knees, elbows, headbutts. If he postures his head up, boom, I can headbutt him. If he postures his head up, I can gouge my thumbs in his eyes. From this position also, with those C steps, I can step and move him around pretty easily.
Good morning, my name is Sean Creighton. I've been training with Coach for about 3 years in summer. I don't have a real history with martial arts, but in the past 3 years, Coach has taught me so much, and he's promoted me to instructor. So just happy to be here. Thank you. What's the top clutch? Here, hands.
Okay, that's Thai clinching. Awesome. Good. Again. Perfect, done. Thrusting elbow. Perfect. Now what you want to do is come up, give. Okay, so now we're going to break down the techniques and the fundamentals of throwing elbows and knees. We love elbows and knees because it's a very hard surface and it can do a good bit of damage Even just one elbow across the cheekbone or the head usually can produce a pretty good cut. Your elbow is super hard. So first elbow we're going to work on is an up elbow. So this elbow can be from our fighting stance up. We'd like to describe this as Elvis loves his hair. And our hand wants to come all the way up so that our elbow can come all the way up. Our second elbow is going to be what we call a round elbow. So this hand's going to come in a round fashion. This is a round elbow. Now we can do a back elbow. And you can take various angles with the back elbow. The next elbow is going to be what we call a down elbow. So I can come here, down. This technique is technically illegal in MMA, but usually used to strike the back of the neck, the spine, the top of the head, the back of the head. Down elbow. Thrusting elbow is our last one. Sean demonstrated this with some cool effect. We're going to go halfway to our Elvis loves his hair and thrust the elbow up. Thrust the elbow up. So I'll bring Sean over. So if we're here and Sean is at this range, I can use an up elbow, boom, right under the chin. I'm going to use my lead hand every time. That's the hand that's closest to him. Same idea from here. I can step and throw a round elbow. Now, I could throw a down elbow into his collarbone area. If Sean is behind me, back elbow high, back elbow low, back elbow at various angles. This is what we call backward elbow. And the thrusting elbow that Sean demonstrated before, from here, thrust the point of the elbow right into the sternum, collarbone area.